What's up, Internet? You're tuning in episode 119 of the Steam Deck Podcast, Slipscreen Games' weekly gaming podcast, all about Valve's portable PC powerhouse, the Steam Deck. I'm your host, Peter Messi, joined today by my very good friends and co-hosts, Mr. Stephen Radford.
Hello, hello.
And Mr. Max Wright.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Welcome back, boys. Full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead. Back again. Boys are back in town. Yada, yada, yada.
And on and on. How many more songs do you think we can quote in this intro?
We had okay.
We got a fun one today. Max brought this topic to the table for today, and it's based on a little trend that he's noticed over on the Steam Deck subreddit. I think anybody that hangs out on the Steam Deck subreddit has seen a particular brand of post, right? Where there is somebody in an interesting place playing their Steam Deck and talking about how it's so great to play their Steam Deck in this very odd place. It could be on the top of a mountain, on a fishing boat, in a hospital bed, all over the place.
Yeah, some of the joke ones I've seen recently where, this thing sort of started because a guy posted, he was like, oh, I've worked out a solution for how to play my Steam Deck on the airplane. And it's not just holding it with your hand.
It's like
strapped
to the seat in front of you.
In front of you, where someone else's head is. And then everyone's sort of gone there, oh, hey, here's this thing of like my wife's giving birth and I strap the Steam Deck to her. Or I've got a person on a leash that holds the Steam Deck up for me on the seat in front of me, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this got me thinking, what are the strangest places that we've used our Steam Decks? Or like, what are the strangest places we've used our Steam Decks? Like, we've all played games on them, but where, what interesting and potentially illegal things are we doing with our Steam Deck?
I wouldn't cop to any illegal things you're doing with it.
All right.
Just a recommendation. But I mean, you do you. I'm not doing anything illegal on my Steam Deck. If I was, I wouldn't incriminate myself on a podcast.
Why are you sweating? Why are you?
Oh, that's just me. I'm just sweaty.
What's the etiquette when you're on a plane and you're strapping your Steam Deck to someone else's seat? Can that person just be like, get your fucking Steam Deck off my seat right now?
They could. Yeah. I mean, I think it would either be you do it before they sit down and you hope that they are not confrontational, or you ask them, and I guess that's
go around their face. You just
you could do that.
Yeah.
I would say
putting the Steam Deck at risk there, though, if they move around too much.
I would say that's really, really rude, and then I'd put my bare feet between the seat in front of me and listen to everyone's conversations around me. So that's how I roll on planes.
Yeah, I bet you recline your seat as well, don't you?
All the way back, mate. I'm 180. I'm more floor than the floor at that point.
Oh God. Yeah, maybe the solution is we just put it on the little tray that's in front of us. I've never had a problem with that.
The only issue I've had with that is in terms of there's no stand for it. So I get why he's put the strap on.
Do you know what I do?
I get why
I put it in the case, and I use the case as the stand.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, you can do that.
I often, the Steam Deck is probably the device I get the most neck ache from playing, because if I'm in a public place, the option is either that heavy, or, which is, by the way, for audio listeners, I'm holding it up in front of my face, or I'm down here.
Don't turn your mouth so much. You're giving you're giving a good audio cue to the audio listener of I'm looking up, and it's like, oh look, it's 3D audio on the podcast.
It's like one of those ones where I'm talking to the left and right side of the mic, but it's useless.
It's like a Beatles song.
Up and down.
Oh my God, yeah, it is. But there's no one on the other side of the microphone, so it doesn't create harmony. It just sounds very lonely.
None of us are Liverpudlian, so it's all fine. It's not impossible to listen to. Anyway, I love creating enemies, don't I? I love just antagonizing.
Bet you read the Sun.
Yeah, don't get me started. I miss that sort of standiness of it, and often
there are solutions to that. Like we've seen, the D brand case that you can get, and you can put that on the kill switch, has the kickstand. There's some from JSOX. There's a bunch of those solutions that you could use. I don't think the solution needs to be strap it to someone else's seat.
Absolutely not. It's so over-engineered as well. And I mean, we have made an episode about the Dream Steam Deck, which involves a lot of strapping down, accessories like power packs or built-in docks that you sort of twist on or stick onto the back and things like that. And that's a bit overkill. And this guy's taking it to the extreme.
I can't be bothered with that sort of thing. I can't.
nude and proud. Me with my Steam Deck.
Yeah.
It's in its case. I haven't got like a special extra case for it.
Dabbled. You experimented with the skin. I remember that.
I did, but imagine that made me feel uncomfortable. It made me rip my skin off, because I was so uncomfortable. I was like, no, I can't do it, because I could just feel it constantly. So I'm nude and I'm happy, nude and proud. I play my games. Do you know what? I play my games. Love me wife. Brilliant. Love it. Perfect. No complaints. Anyway, this whole thing got me thinking. What we have a collection, a community of Steam Deck users, and I was interested in what people in our Discord are up to. People just like to tell people where they can find this Discord if they do want to get involved in these conversations in future.
Sure, yeah. If you guys want to get in the conversation, if you want to write into the show with a question, or if you want to get your thoughts right on the air when we throw out a poll to get information from the folks, you can head over to flipscreen.games. That's our website where you'll find links to our Discord and our Patreon, where we also make those kinds of updates. And you can join as a free member for polls and stuff like that. So either way is a good way to get involved. But frankly, I think you should join both. Get the full experience.
I agree. So let's start. Let's go through what people have said, shall we? Let's start off with a nice, simple one, which is Shitty Foo said that he said, "I'll preface this by letting you know I'm a middle-aged corporate consultant with a young family, so brace yourself for some shenanigans." Then goes on to say, "Most of the time I'll play my Steam Deck on my recliner, but sometimes I'll play in bed," which I think is exactly how I play mine as well. And I'm sure 99% of the people use it that way too. But he then goes on to say, he dual booted Windows a few times to access Game Pass, but now just plays his Steam library. He apologizes for the most boring contribution. I don't think that was boring.
It's classic though, right? I mean,
exactly.
I think a lot of the, because we have a lot of parents, right, in the audience, and I think most of the parents own a Steam Deck or a Switch for that reason, right? It's like you want that.
The kids watching Peppa Pig or Cocomelon on the TV, and you can actually play something that you want to play on your Steam Deck.
Chip away at Tears of the Kingdom, or jump into like Balatro, right? Knock out a quick round. It's like
that's why we had that, right?
Yeah.
In fact, Stevie Yaki actually said, I didn't have this one saved actually, but I've remembered it. Stevie Yaki said that he mainly uses his because the TV and Xbox has a hierarchy of people who are allowed to use it with. First is the kids, second is the wife, and third is him.
That is funny because like the hierarchy in my house was my dad was always number one. Then it was the kids, and we would just battle out between us. And my mum was not interested at all. She was not interested in console games at all. She was busy playing Diablo on the PC. That's why my mum was.
It's so funny to me because like as an only child, like I already was like less predisposed to that kind of like, who gets what, but like. Both me and then like my cousins who like were a family that had 2 children and stuff like that. Like every child just had a tiny television in their room because it's like, I'm not fucking dealing with this. We're not going to debate over who gets to use it. We spent a lot of money on these damn games. I want you to play them. We'll give you the hand-me-down television, Did
you guys have the television with the VHS slot on the bottom?
Oh, the combi. Oh, no, I never had a combi.
Really?
Oh, dude, I literally... to the right of me, I found the TV I had for the longest period of time in my childhood bedroom and got to the side over here to watch VHSs and play, classic games on a CRT. It's very nice. Very nostalgic.
Very nice. Yeah, I remember mine was always like, I would just go downstairs and I'd open up what at the time was like this, like treasure trove of all these things that I probably wasn't allowed to watch. And I was just like, what's Blackadder? As like a 10-year-old. And I watched like all of Blackadder and, but I was also playing GTA at the time, so it didn't damage me at all. It's fine.
I think GTA probably was a bit more damaging than Blackadder goes forth. I think
a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know. It's so funny. I genuinely, I had like the exact opposite experience when it comes to that sort of thing. Like violent film, or scary movies, like left such a bigger impression on me than playing like age inappropriate violent video games. Like I played GTA when I was way too young for it, and my reaction was very like, it was like, oh, this is so like cartoonish. Like it's it's so hyper violent that it's like clearly not based, it wasn't like, I don't think it like encouraged any violent tendency in me or anything like that. It was more just like, oh, I want to like see how many things I can blow up before they take me out or what, it's like, I'm not advocating for you little kids to play it, but I think of like the R-rated movies I saw when I was too young left such a more like indelible, like, oh, I'm afraid of this now, or like I had an
Yeah.
issue with this thing for a couple years or whatever, you know?
It's too tongue-in-cheek for you to be able to take it seriously. That, and even as a kid, you had that sort of level of media literacy to know that it's tongue-in-cheek, as
Yeah.
opposed to there are some people who are adults now that go, oh, you can't do this now, you can't get away with GTA now. Like, yeah, you can, because GTA's always been tongue-in-cheek. It's always been like, ha ha ha, we're doing this as like, in a but
It's
we know
satire.
Some of them
we're
don't-
self-aware of it.
Some
but
of the jokes are like stale now. They're like, you go back and you're like, oh, don't know if that
Oh yeah,
lands.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah.
problematic for sure.
yeah.
But
But
I
it's-
mean,
it's
that's
not-
also true of most things, right? Like
Mhm.
most media from that period.
Don't. Pete's about to ruin everything for you. He ruined 30 Rock and How I Met Your Mother for
I
me,
did
and
ruin
he's
that.
going to ruin all media for
I
you.
did ruin those for Steve.
How did you in 30 Rock first? Steve?
We'll talk about it
mean,
off
come
mic.
on.
I've already done it
It's
for
like-
him once.
There's no blackface in like episode
Oh no,
4.
yes, sorry, there is. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
you're
I
right,
mean,
yeah.
like,
Forgot about that.
it goes deeper than that. Tina Fey's pretty racist. Let's just leave it at that. So, let's jump into another one to get us back on track here, because I don't know how to segue out of that.
Do you know where else have you used it? Because these are all now going to be not really playing games. Where have you used your Steam Deck to play games? That's the most interesting or unusual place. I've used mine like in boring, mundane places, in the car, in a doctor's office, on the toilet. Like those are the
Yeah.
places that I've like
you know
used
what?
it.
I think the most interesting place I've used it's like, and again, it's like it's not like that crazy, but when I went on my honeymoon, that was the only gaming device that I brought, and I hit a point because I brought 2 books to read, and I finished the first book I was reading and was like not quite in the mood for the next one. So I brought my Steam Deck like to the beach and played a little bit of Persona like by the water, because I was like, I'm gonna be out there for like 8 hours today chilling out. I might need some downtime. So yeah, like that's probably the most like,
bringing you pizzas and all sorts of stuff.
yeah, it
like
was
that.
pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. That was probably like the most like exotic, like not at my house or waiting in line somewhere in the city where I live, right? It's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. That's like, oh, I'm in a different country. I'm on the beach. That's cool.
I mean, like the train's pretty obvious. Like, I can tell you, over the weekend I lost my Steam Deck. If that's an interesting habit.
Oh no.
I took mine into London with me because I was getting the train there, hour there, train back, and I thought I'll take my Steam Deck. I'm trying to nail like my last couple of Balatro achievements. I'll do that.
Still, man's finished it on mobile, but he still needs to go back to
I'll go back on
Deck
Steam
to finish it up.
yeah. Oh mate, I've had like 5 achievement unlocks since then. I've done so many of them. I'd had a few too many drinks. I got too drunk, I'll admit, right? I hate to admit it publicly. I got very drunk.
This is a safe
Right.
space.
Thank you. I was like, I need to have some food. Spoiler, I'd already eaten at this point, by the way. I had to get some more food. And I was just wandering up this street, and I stopped at saw a pizza restaurant and was like, oh, pizza, that'd be great.
I thought you were gonna go
Back
for
to the
the
spoiler,
car.
I'd already had a pizza by that point. Anyway, back to it. I'm
Man,
sat-
after my own
sat-
heart.
sat
Like, let
in
me
a
run
pizza
it back.
restaurant.
Second pizza.
I was like, that first one went down such a treat. I'll go another
Yeah.
one. So I'm sat there, and I must get my pizza, I eat my food, I leave the restaurant or whatever. I then suddenly get this realization of like, I had a bag on me. I'm now on the train, so I had to go back to that, find myself way back to that street, to go back to that restaurant to hope they had my Steam Deck. And it's lucky I did, because it turns out this better be a safe space. I'd forgotten to pay at the restaurant.
So you
had
dined and
gone-
dashed and left
had
your
gone-
bag.
I had gone yummy, thanks for that, and left as if I'd already like a Nando's or something like that, where you pay up before you get there.
Oh, that's so bad.
And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Pay. Oh, by the way, I think I had a bag when I came in, and then they produced my Steam Deck in the bag, and I was like, oh, that was nearly a traumatic.
I like how they didn't tell you your bag was there until you paid, and they're like, okay,
Yeah,
now you
like-
can have your shit back.
I mean, there's probably a part of me that probably should have gone like, oh, I'll just call it quits. But I'm pretty sure the £20 worth of pizza wasn't going to quite cover all of the loss of that.
No, I would say not. That's
of my
very
lucky Steam
funny,
Deck, but,
and I'm very
yeah.
glad that it played out the way you wanted to.
What was on the pizza? Do you remember?
I think it was like an andouille and like salami. It was like a spicy one.
It was
you
a
know?
Pizza Express then.
No, it wasn't pizza. It was like
To translate, are you trying to say andouille?
Is andouille.
So not a sausage?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Have I been saying what is pronounced how?
You guys are saying it, but you mean
Spell
sausage,
this
right?
for me. Spell this for me.
I don't know it off the top of my
It's
head.
N''Duja.
Yeah, that's unduly.
Yeah, at least here. I don't know. Maybe that's an Italian American like bullshit pronunciation. That's totally possible.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah, andouille sausage.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it isn't. Do you? Okay, thank God for that. Whew.
Okay.
It's a large, soft cured meat. Sorry. Bright red.
You can't.
When sliced.
What are you, 5?
Yeah. I think that I think the sausage you're thinking of is spelled ANDULI,
probably.
something like that. Maybe I'm thinking it's like ANDOILLE, like
Yeah, I
French
think it's like,
word.
isn't it like South African or Brazilian sausage or something?
Oh, you know what?
it's
Okay, it looks like
Calabria.
that's a different thing. Maybe. Yeah.
Oh, thank God
the
for
one
that.
that I'm. It's funny though because it's also a pork. Mine is ANDOUILLE.
I was close. I wasn't far off with the guess.
It's a French.
It is French. Good. Okay, I'm glad we got there.
Big in Cajun cuisine down in.
Yes. Yeah.
New
Well,
Orleans.
it's lucky I didn't get that sausage thing wrong because I'd have a lot to lose. Sorry, French sausage. Oh, I've ruined that. But whatever.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, lovely pizza. Would recommend go there. Don't mention me, but go there and have a good time.
Don't mention Max and don't leave your Steam Deck behind.
Should we
That's
actually
why you
get
have the
on to-
wrist strap. That's the point, you know.
Yeah, I'm always walking around with my Wiimotes dangling from my wrists.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because I used to do this like when the Switch like first came out, and I was like very, very like actively like anytime I have 5 seconds, I would like to be playing Breath of the Wild. And I would go out and I would have my Switch with me and I had the wrist strap on and I was like holding it. And it just looks like I'm like carrying a clutch purse, but it's just my Nintendo Switch.
Phone, wallet, keys. It's phone, wallet, keys. That's all you need. You know?
Yeah, phone, wallet,
wallet,
keys,
keys,
Nintendo
chapstick.
Switch.
Phone, wallet, keys, chapstick. Phone, wallet, keys. Pry bar. Wherever you are, that kind of guy. If you're an EDC guy, you always got to have a pry bar for some reason. We're so off topic. Like crazy
Sometimes
off
you guys just start saying things and I'm like, do we even?
I don't know what that is.
Are you
either. I don't
speaking
know
the
what
same
EDC
language
is.
as me right
You know
now?
what EDC is? Everyday carry. EDC, it's like what's the
Okay.
stuff that you have on your person. On Reddit, you'll see guys with like, here's my 6 knives, 2 guns. If you want, I'll get all of my EDC out right now. I carry
No,
stuff
that's
every
okay.
single day.
That's
I'll do
all
it.
right.
Let's do a TikTok on that, Max. Max,
Save it for an
EDC.
after dark.
Let's do it after dark of what's in Max's pocket because I've got this coat is the heaviest coat you'll ever wear, and every single pocket has something in it or multiple things that is always in the same place.
Look, I know that this was a Max topic, and I kind of relinquished control a little bit here, but I feel like we're 19 minutes in. We've read one comment, and I've been
Hey,
talking
come
about
on.
sausage for 3
think-
minutes.
What's in Max's pocket is the question everyone's been asking.
Then you better subscribe and we'll do an after dark. Bring it back. Read questions.
I think I gotta exert a little bit more control on these Max topics.
This is like when you're not here and me and Steve just go on.
I'm terrified about what's
Tangents.
happening. All right, so this next one comes from Mark Fox, who wrote it and said, I've used my Steam Deck to teach NVQ PT courses loads of times. I'm going to pause right there. What does that mean?
NVQ is like a diploma of some sorts.
National Vocational
Oh, there we go.
Qualification, I believe.
Okay.
PT was a game that was developed by Hideo Kojima.
Is that
and,
physical therapy?
I'm going to assume it's
personal
physical
training, I
therapy
think.
or personal training.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I just go into desktop and present the slides from there. Means when I travel by public transport, I don't have to take a laptop. The learners do look at it like, what the fuck are you doing? Mark, I think that is such a flex. I love that. You're
Yeah.
like, I need to bring a computer for a slideshow. So I'll just use my Steam Deck so I can play video games on the that's awesome, dude.
One
That's so
bag.
clever.
One clutch, wrist strap on, one clutch. You get there, you unzip it, you're done.
This reminds me of a
Slides.
thing I can't believe I haven't shared on the show before. Maybe I did, and you guys remind me, because this is the craziest thing I've ever seen a Steam Deck used for. So my band, and if you don't know, right, I play drums in a punk band. We're called Long Friend Time Friend. We play in Philly, where I live all the time. And Philly has a really healthy tradition of house venues, right? So people who throw shows like in their basement or their backyard or something like that. And there's this venue that's like in my part of the city that's called Little Big Planet, named after the PlayStation series, of course. And they put on house shows, but they also live stream the shows so that you can watch them on Twitch. And we played there for the first time a couple months ago, I think in like November or something like that. And we got there, we're setting up, and I'm like introducing myself to the two guys that own the house and run everything. And the one guy who is running the live stream, he has it running off of a fucking Steam Deck. And I was like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Like, what? And it's like, oh yeah. I like literally was like, dude, here, like, go listen to my podcast. I don't know if he listens, but if you're here, hey, what's going on, Little Big Planet?
It's a Steam Deck, a Stream Deck, and a DJ deck all at
Yeah.
once.
That's
And
it.
literally, he was DJing off of it in
Yeah,
the
that's
upstairs while it was, and then once once the music started playing, he was using it for the live stream. It was just so funny that it was like, well, we only have one computer, so like that's the second screen experience. So funny.
I've seen people stream off it before with like full like not like in person, but full camera setups. Like they've got is the Steam Deck is just the thing operating it. And did we speak about the dumb Steam Deck where they took the screen and the controls off, and it was literally just almost like it was a pared down in a custom shell. It was just the hardware and then HDMI out and all that stuff, so that he could have basically Nreal glasses go into it. Get to those later. Controller, and it was like the console element of it was just goes in your pocket, makes it 10 times smaller, yada yada. That I think would work really well for things like this. It's like, oh, where's your computer? It's like, oh, it's just this. Just give me a screen. I'll plug this into it, and we're good to go. Like one of those little.
That was the dream
nut
of those. Remember
computers.
those like Chromebook dongles, and you just like,
Oh,
it was just a
yeah.
USB
Windows 11 on
an
USB you
HDMI
could get
thing,
as
and
well.
you just plugged it in, and that was the dream. But I could see us getting to that, or like a dumb terminal, because like you really don't need that much power for the majority of things. Something like Mark's doing, where he's just showing a slideshow, like that's crazy. But like I think Pete's example shows just how capable it is. And Team Linux 01 said he's doing something similar. He's encoding videos into AV1 with Handbrake on the Dex CPU using Jellyfin while docked to watch the videos from my server. But it's so future-proof. The fact that you can encode videos into AV1, you'll be able to do that with OBS as well. You can record videos, you can stream them. Obviously, the DJing stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can do because it's a really capable PC under the hood, and there's a lot of cool tech in there.
Can you quickly encode what you just said there into like low IQ so I can understand what the hell that means quickly?
So have you heard of like codecs before, like H.264, H.265?
Vaguely, yeah.
AV1 is the kind of latest generation, and it is higher bit rate. It looks better. It can be compressed to smaller file sizes with high bit rates.
I would say the reader's died. Like the for dummies explanation is that it is a new type of video format that has much higher quality with much smaller files.
Okay.
But you need a device that supports AV1 in order to encode and also play them, and the Steam Deck supports
can
both.
do
Yeah, and that's like kind of the big thing with it right now is like basically nothing plays AV1. So it's like you can play it in like VLC player. Or, like,
I was going to say
like,
VLC must
yeah,
believe it. Must do it. Yeah,
but like trying to use it like the way you would a more standard video file is not quite as simple.
Does it require a lot of processing power to do encoding? I know that like my Raspberry Pi, for example, that I had running my Plex server just couldn't handle it, but my computer that currently runs it is absolutely fine. I'm assuming that's due to the more powerful.
Well, it depends on Raspberry Pi. You've got like the later
Yeah.
ones are really like decent at running.
Yeah,
Black Clover.
I wouldn't say it takes a high amount of computing power, but like it takes a not insignificant amount, and I think it's more like how long it takes, right? Because it's like if you have a weaker computer, the encoding will take a long time, whereas like on my computer, if I'm encoding a video in Handbrake, it takes like, I don't know, 70 seconds or something like that, But like on a budget laptop, it might take 20 minutes or something like that.
And
right?
like it's probably a decent use case for the Steam Deck, right? You can just queue up a bunch of videos. You can just have that docked, encoding the videos all day long onto a USB stick, and then when you're ready and you're done with work or you're done doing what you're doing, you can go and watch the videos in Jellyfin or Plex or whatever your kind of media server is.
Is Jellyfin similar to Plex? I'm not familiar.
Yeah, Jellyfin is an open source competitor to Plex. I think the kind of ethos around it, the developers kind of got of Jellyfin got pissed off that Plex puts so much behind the Plex Pass. So like to even access the mobile app or to do the transcoding on the fly, all of that stuff is behind the Plex Pass. Jellyfin makes that kind of free because it's open source software and you can just use it.
Okay, I didn't know this. I'm looking into this because I would, in fact, Team Linux, I'm going to be messaging you about this, and I want to know if my nan can use this. So think about this. Can my nan use Jellyfinger the way she currently uses my Plex?
So she uses your Plex. How does she access your Plex?
It's probably just a
Through her
smart
TV.
app, right? Yeah.
Yeah, smart up on her TV.
You can get it on
she's got
Samsung.
If there's a Jellyfin app for her TV, then yes, she can very easily just download that and open it, and it'll be no problem at all. I think there is a Jellyfin app for Samsungs. I don't know about LGs. I know there is for Android TVs. You can just download the Jellyfin app on there. So it depends what she's using.
So it looks like there is a build for Tizen, or I don't know how you pronounce it. Tizen TVs, but it looks like you can get it onto your Samsung TV, but you'd need to like hack your television. So
okay, maybe stick with Plex if
or buy grandma's Steam Deck.
Maybe.
Did you ever upgrade to an OLED? Get an OLED. Give her your LCD, and
of course I upgraded to it. I upgraded from OLED 1.5 times because the first time I did it.
Yeah. I forgot.
I'm very open on this show, aren't I? Sometimes.
That's good. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Okay, let's read another one here. This one comes from Chris Trumpeter, who wrote in and said, I've used it plenty of times with a pair of X-Real glasses while flying. I forget I'm on a plane for a couple of hours, and poof, I'm at my destination.
I really want to try this. This is like one of those things that when the first time I ever saw it, and I'm pretty sure on Jimmy Fallon, Linus from Linus Tech Tips showed a pair of these glasses running on the Steam Deck, and just to be able to like stream, like it's one thing to be playing something from the Steam Deck and blowing up that big, and it's like, oh, that looks a bit grainy, but to stream like from PC to, to Steam Deck and then onto this huge like 80-inch,
Would you need to? Can you just plug your X-Real glasses into your PC and stream them from there?
Yeah, but then I can't like sit on the sofa or get comfy, lay on the bed.
Does it need like a wired connection? It's not like link or whatever.
So the glasses are like USB-C into something. They're just like a monitor basically. My understanding is they're a monitor. You charge them up and then you go. Well, they might even be powered. No, I think they're powered by the device. So you'd need to be you're hardwired in. So I've seen people use it with the Steam Deck before, not in person, but I think using that as a way to get that onto my PC games without having to sit at this desk, I can like lay down and get the full
You ever tried it with like a Quest or anything? Because like you can do something similar on that where it just shares your desktop and you can just play around.
I don't own a Quest at the moment, and I think you can. I know you can if you have a capture card, you can stream like a Switch into the capture card and then into a Quest, and that seems like a lot of fun. But I think issue with the Switch is that it's going to be 720p and it's blah blah blah. Whereas I would like to be able to get like the full quality of a PC and on a huge screen in front of me that's super comfy. That's like the end game, I think, of like that's the setup. You're in your own private. Your headphones are on. You're in your glasses are on. There's not you are locked into that game, and you've got the comfort of the Steam Deck controller in your hands. The only issue you might have there, I guess, is the Steam Deck battery will run out. But if you're streaming it, you've got like 7 hours of battery as opposed to the 2 hours for that sort of quality. Right. I think that is the end game, and I think reading that really like reignited my I'd like that. But I've also spent too much money on silly things right now to be also spending £300 on glasses. So
yeah, I get that. I am very interested in this, Chris, and I'd love to hear more about how you use this and like what. I guess just like what the experience is like for you, because I've tried X-Real glasses a couple times at events, and granted, the last time I used them would have been probably 2 years ago. So I think there are newer models available now that maybe address some of the issues that I was experiencing. But, like when you're wearing a VR headset and you're in like you guys both used like the Steam VR like room before, right?
No, I haven't. No.
So, okay. To explain it if you haven't used it, I guess, because some of the listeners probably haven't either. It's basically like you're in this kind of like you have the headset on and there is a like window, right? Like a PC window that's like open in front of you and it like is moving along with you and like, but like if you move, it can be static and then you can like press a button to move the screen back in front of where your eyes actually are. And it's like, it just feels...
sounds a lot like the Quest one as well.
It's similar to the Quest. So the Quest has like 2 modes. You can either have it down in like tablet mode and it's in front of you, or you put it up on the screen and then it's floating in the air.
So in my experience, that has always been awkward. It's never felt natural. And I don't know if that's like an eye tracking thing where like they need to advance eye tracking so that you can have a like quote unquote static screen mode and I can move my head and it can like stay with me and I don't get that feeling of like,
Possibly, yeah. I mean, most headsets don't have eye tracking. So like the Quest doesn't, these X-Real glasses has no eye tracking. The
Which would be hard to do in
does.
glasses anyway, because it's like how it's so thin, right? Like,
yeah, you need
anyway,
some kind of sensor in there.
The reason I bring that up is that like I remember I was doing a demo and they had a Switch hooked up to it playing Breath of the Wild, and it was just like I just felt like, rather than the experience that Max and Chris are describing of like, I forget I'm on a plane and I just feel like I have an 80-inch screen like in front of me, it more felt like there was a like overlay of Breath of the Wild like in front of me. And it was
could you see, were there the glasses where you can see through and you can see the outside world around them, or
yes,
they
were.
Because you with the X-Real glasses, you can like cover it up so it's completely black.
Yeah,
maybe that would have been a differentiator for me. Because I don't know, I felt like it was like this feels very unimmersive because it's like it's the same reason I don't like. It's the same reason I like end up being turned off by VR, where it's like in an effort to make it more immersive, it feels less immersive. It feels like when I'm looking at a screen, right? Like when I'm playing a game on a PC or on a handheld or on a television, I'm never sitting there being like, my brain isn't sitting there being like, I am looking at a screen, right? It's like, no, like this is a window to the thing I'm experiencing. Whereas when I have a VR headset on or those glasses, like it feels so like there is a thing on my face and it's never where I want it to be, and it's not as static as an actual screen. So it's like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like it just, I always feel like I'm like having to like adjust it and be like, press the button to reset the screen, press the button to reset. It's like, can it just fucking sit still?
So with VR, I understand, because you can like, without meaning to, you've turned slightly and the screen's now over here, and without realizing it, you've gone from like, I'm looking at this to like, I'm looking at this and my neck hurts.
And I'm at an angle. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and it's like, it just ends up feeling odd.
It's like, it's slowly drifted and you're up here somewhere looking at it now. Whereas I think these glasses are, because it's not, I'm moving my head around to look at it, because I'm pretty sure it is just, there are 2 screens static on your eyes and it's black behind it. It's just bang, here's what looks
that
to be
sounds
the size
appealing to
of
me.
I've never tried them and I would like to try them to know what that experience is.
I wonder if I tried like the Airs or like the cheaper ones, because I know that they have like a new model that just came out like a year ago or something that are like $600, and maybe those have that more kind of immersive experience.
This is the problem though. It's like these are the kind of things that I kind of miss retail for in some ways, where it's like you would go to a store and you try them and the salesperson would be like, oh, well, these do this and these do this and these do this.
Here's how you
and, like,
configure them properly so that they actually look right.
Yeah.
Now it's just buy it online, take a risk, plunge, pay 300 quid, and then
do what you
maybe
want.
Like it. And if not, you've got to go through the arduous return process or just suck it up and keep them.
Yeah.
And like most of the time, you're going to suck it up and keep them or put them on Facebook.
One of the benefits of like, going to an Apple store, for example, it's like, oh, here's the iPhone. Whereas if I'm like, oh, how does the new Google Pixel feel for me? I've got to like hold it with the metal security shield around it and a wire between my fingers in John Lewis. And it's like, no, why can't I just pick it up like I'm in the Apple store and like wave it around and go, yeah, that's how that feels. But I also feel like with the Nreal glasses, I put them on and be like, are they all like this scratched? Are these arms all hanging off, and are they all sticky, or is it just this set you got out for me here?
Yeah, and that was like part of the thing I was having too. Was like the person who was like helping me with the demo was like very distracted, and it was like, you're not really helping me that much. This is like, I don't know. It could have just been a bad experience, but I went into it being like, oh, I've heard about these. That sounds really cool. And then I was like, this ain't it. Like, it's just not there yet. And I think you're right though in terms of like that is a thing that I could see a couple years from now being really attractive because like I like to fly. Nobody likes the experience of like being on a plane for a long period of time though, right? It's like being able to just be like, okay, cool, get a little sensory deprivation, like that sounds nice.
That I do love about traveling because it's one of those only times I really just have downtime.
Oh, I agree with you. That's why I like it.
Doing nothing.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, this is great,
dude. I read so often when I'm traveling. Like I never read books in my regular day-to-day life. Anytime I'm on a plane, like my last vacation, I read 3 books. It's like fucking A, man. Like
I took 2 books because I thought I don't need a third book, and then the last week I was like, really should have bought that third book.
You're in WH Smith's at the airport buying a book for $12.99.
I had the third book. It just was at home, but luckily it was an audiobook version of it. On Spotify, and I hated that, but I read it anyway.
No, I love audiobooks. See, that's because I drive all the time, and
so do I.
I'm like listening to books, and that's the only way I can.
I've gotten into audiobooks too. There's certain types of books that I don't think work. Like if I'm trying to like really like learn something, like I would rather be able to look at it, and like especially like there's certain things that it's like it's an audiobook, but the real book has like images, and it's like, well, I kind of need the reference image, whatever. But like I've listened to a couple books that way, and it's I definitely dig it. I think that's one of the interesting things about like Team Linux's submission here is like I've never really thought about the Steam Deck as like a multimedia device, but like it's pretty.
If you can just have Jellyfin running in the background at all times, and that's your Jellyfin or your Plex server,
that would be good.
Plugged into your TV anyway, and like you can just have that when it's hooked up to the dock. There's
I like low key might go set this up with my base, my LCD deck, because I was planning on setting that up with my CRT that I mentioned earlier, just for retro gaming. But I mean, I could just do both and just switch it out whenever.
I'd do the same, but I don't like the idea of my nan not being able to watch TV while I'm out in a restaurant in London with my Steam Deck in my bag. I'll keep it on while I've got it on now.
Fair enough.
I am nervous about the Nreal X-Real glasses because I feel like if they are as good as I'm expecting them to be, and they do sort of give me what I want, that I'm going to have to get like a dog and like a stick. And
I need a seeing eye dog so that when I'm in the metaverse, I don't bump into people.
I'm going to be like, I'll be like playing Balatro out in Tesco's and Cats, like, oh, watch out, there's a person there, and I'm just like, I'm an anti-5, like, get out of my way. Like,
that is like the most dystopian like shit ever, it's like it's just like like I'm imagining the headline of like, I was just seeing eye dog shortage because fucking Silicon Valley tech bros.
It's like the end of the third Matrix where like I'm effectively blind, and they're like, my girlfriend is driving me around and like doing all the things I need to do for me because I'm blind, but actually I've got so much fucking information reeling across my eyes at all times. I'm just like, I can see everything, I can do everything because I'm in the Matrix in my X-Real glasses.
And realistically, all he's doing is having a dog lead him around to the Tesco while he plays Balatro.
Absolutely. I think we could combine X-Real glasses and audiobooks and have, while I'm driving, I'm wearing X-Real glasses and it's just feeding the books in text form across my eyes while I drive. That sounds really helpful and handy. Because the thing with hearing is I get distracted and don't hear something. I've got to go back. And I don't want to do that while I'm driving. So just being able to have the like a Star Wars crawl in front of me at all times.
Safe. Really, really safe. And can you let me know whenever you're doing that and you're out on the road, because I'll avoid you.
Oh, well, this is like I've just started having a driving test. Oh, tell me when your lesson is.
The glasses I really want to try are the Meta Ray-Bans ones.
Yeah. A lot of that. A lot of pushing
Yeah.
your side of your glasses.
I kind of just want it for the POV video. I think it's so cool.
Like a built-in dash cam.
Yeah.
Someone like bumps into you at Tesco's and you're like, I saw that. I've got that, mate.
That's great.
A lot of Tesco's drops today, aren't there? Really?
Max has got a new job. Works at Tesco.
So I wanted to pull in a couple of the examples that Max had found on our Steam Deck as well, because I thought that they were just like, there's some fucking crazy ones that are actually cool though. There's this one that you shared where this person, the headline is, I built a mobile command center for my Steam Deck, and it's like an industrial like hard plastic like suitcase kind of thing, and there's a monitor like attached to the top, and then it like the bottom has the Steam Deck case, a stand for the Steam Deck, a PlayStation controller, a keyboard, a mouse, a power supply, so you can like plug the whole thing in. It's like, this is absolutely wild. It's such a cool setup though.
It's sick, but it also completely defeats the purpose of the Steam Deck. It's like he's about to defuse a bomb, where he's just arrived, like the robot's done his thing, and he's like, right, let me get the Steam Deck out.
My favorite thing,
so industrial.
My favorite thing about it is like like he describes it. It's like, oh, it's an old Pelican case. The monitor is bolted to the lid. Everything else is just like with Velcro. And he's like, yes, I'm aware I've over-engineered a laptop. But like,
honestly,
it's cool though. It is cool.
You know, this reminded me, and it looks like it should be something that they use it in war zones. But it reminded me. Do you remember when in Ukraine they were using the Steam Deck to control machine gun turrets?
Yeah.
And like what an absolutely insane use case for a Steam Deck to control a turret.
Can we talk about the other?
Gaben had like an Oppenheimer moment where Gaben is like, "Oh, I've become
like,
deaf."
oh no!
Like his invention has.
Like the other one I thought was very like funny, but like it definitely like made me a little sweaty. Is like there's a person who is about to like jump out of a plane. It looks like, and they're holding it.
I
it's like,
think that
bro,
based on what he's wearing, I think he's on top of like a pylon. I think he's got his Carhartts on, he's got his boots on, he's got his jeans on, he's got his gloves on. I think he's top of a pylon, and he's gone, let me risk my £400 or £500 device for a photo, which fair enough. This is like very much Tom Cruise on top of that.
Never mind the £1,000 phone that he's also risking.
That's a good point. And at no point, and none of his hands are actually holding on to anything.
It's like making me uncomfortable. I had to close the image because I'm starting to get like my fear of heights is like being triggered. Of like, oh god, he's not holding on to anything. What's he doing? Like,
he's so high, there's curvature.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're right. That's so scary.
That is scary. It's impressive though.
There was another prompt here where somebody was saying how they saw someone use it as a karaoke machine. Somebody who used it as a teleprompter.
Great,
it's so bizarre.
The karaoke machine's great. Just having the screen built in and being able to just go, yep, there it is, it's running. That's fantastic.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I guess you just plug in a. Just use that for just the lyrics and stuff, which that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you could plug it. You also have the sound coming out of it, the microphone plug coming out of it. I mean, it is just use a computer, but whatever. It's
cooler though. It's cooler that it's a Steam Deck.
Yeah, because a phone doesn't have enough USB slots for you to do that, but a Steam Deck has one USB-C slot that you can run everything off of. So that's good.
I love the top reply is also, it's my main PC. I pay bills on it. Check my email, budget, appointments with my therapist. It's like, I love the idea of you going to like teletherapy sessions on your Steam Deck. It's so sick.
That's the dream, though. I've said this before. The dream is to have here's my full setup, and I'm taking the brains of that setup with me, and I'm having a pared down full experience still. And I plug it back in. All of a sudden, the GPU kicks in, the power kicks in, the room gets hot.
Device kind of experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all in one.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to just touch on this last.
Yeah. I was about to do the same thing.
Oh, okay, good. Because I would hate to miss this because I don't understand what it means, and I think Steve does know what this means. Steve, why don't you read this out for me? Because I don't want to.
So Daft Knight said, I installed DeepSeek on it. No practical reason. I just found the thought funny that the deck is running one of the newest LLMs and on it and calling it a smart device. So DeepSeek R1 is their model that they're referring to. They're probably actually not using DeepSeek R1. It's probably a distilled version that they released of the model. But basically, it's like running your own little mini chat GPT. on the Steam Deck, and you
Okay.
can like run it and have it local. And the beauty of these open source models is they're free weights, so you can pull them, you can refine them, you can tweak them, you can make them do whatever you want, and kind of say whatever you want, and you can hone them in. So say you wanted to make like a specific LLM that was about, like, I don't know, finding the best games on your Steam Deck or whatever, and like deciding what game to play. You could tweak it and make it do that, and you could run that on the device. And then rather than having to go and waste tons of power and compute in like a data center somewhere, you're just running that locally on your device.
Interesting. So you could, okay, so let's just, in theory, let's say I'm in a nightclub, right? Let's just say, just because I'm trying
Not
to
a Pizza Express in working.
Not a Pizza Express.
He's at the nightclub after the first Pizza Express, but before the second Pizza Express.
Yeah. Stop saying Pizza.
So he's at the nightclub and he needs an AI model to help him find pizza.
It was more upmarket than a Pizza Express. Pizza Express has its name ruined by Prince Andrew. I was not at a Pizza Express. All right. Let's just say
this one's too British. I'm just gonna say it. It's too British.
I
felt it that time. We teetered. It went too far. You know,
I'm sure we've got enough Brits on here. I'm pretty sure Prince Andrew was international.
He definitely was international.
I've seen him on flight logs. I've seen him on flight logs to know that it was.
Went to islands and all sorts.
You love going to islands, yeah. Big
all right, come on.
So,
how many fucking handbrakes, my guy?
I'm in a nightclub. I'm underground in this nightclub, and my signal's not good. I need to know where the toilets are. And there's a little Steam Deck there.
Correct. Yeah, you could be,
and you can just say, where are the toilets? And it will go, oh, I know where the toilets are. Oh, they're here. Like almost like a like the little robot from Power Rangers.
It's all running locally. It doesn't need an internet connection.
Okay, that's clever, because you couldn't do that with ChatGPT because it's too power hungry, too resource hungry, right? You couldn't just have. You'd need to have like a server or something hooked up to run it off, or you'd have to have a. So this is like without internet. It just does it.
You can ask AI a question without dumping 6 gallons of water on the ground.
Have you guys heard of the thing called a pirate box? I think it's called a pirate box. It was the idea that you could get like a Wi-Fi router, plug a USB stick into a Wi-Fi router, add a piece of firmware to it, and then you can connect to that Wi-Fi network, and it will feed you an internet page, or it'll feed you like a web page or like a browser to access what's on that. And we did a thing in uni where we were able to put like a Wikipedia page,
like an intranet
on there. Yeah, sort of like, but it exists. So you could have that in the middle of the woods somewhere. So my idea was for like digital geocaching. You could go somewhere in the middle of the woods, connect to this Wi-Fi thing, and someone would have left you a file, and you would have left, you could then leave them a file. Obviously, there's negative implications there. There's dodgy ways that they could be used for all kinds of awful things, and so it's a bit dubious about whether you'd want something like that, especially if you can lock it with a password as well. But anyway, the idea of that being actually smart, being able to talk back to you and understand you, and sort of like running on a Steam Deck, I think is very interesting. Well, like not a Steam Deck specifically, but
run like you could just have like a little terminal in the middle of the woods somewhere, and it's waiting for you to ask it questions about where the next cache is or whatever.
You could have it on the bridge, and it asks you riddles for you to be able to cross the bridge. Oh,
there you go. See, Max is
brilliant.
Basically inventing the plot to Labyrinth.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, that is cool. I didn't, when I first read this, I was like, I don't understand what this is, but now if
you're interested, Max, Google Olama. It's a piece of software that'll let you download these and run it on your machine.
Not doing that. But okay, maybe I will. Maybe I'll give it a go. And how much power does it take? Is it going to like? Does it have to be actively running?
So these distilled models are around 5 gigabytes in terms of what it will need in terms of RAM to run. So around 5 to 12 gigabytes is what you're looking for.
Cool. And this isn't going to like burn out the graphics card like a
doesn't run on a graphics card. It's already done all the training. It's running on a CPU.
Cool. Nice. Well, I'm glad that the 4 dummies explanation is here for me.
All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up for today's conversation, but I did want to just give a quick PSA because we've got an idea for a topic for next week's show. Of course, if you guys missed it, there was a PlayStation State of Play yesterday. We did a live watch along, and then Ken and I did a breakdown over on the Flip Screen Games podcast, which you can go check out if you want to see some of those announcements. A bunch of those games will be, of course, coming to PC, and one of the big talking points was that Stellar Blade, which was, of course, a big PlayStation 5 exclusive last year is coming to PC. The developer Shift Up has said that they're targeting Steam Deck for PC's release, and we thought that that would be a good opportunity to talk a little bit more about, some games we'd still like to see make the jump to Steam Deck and kind of the state of AAA ports in general on the device in 2025. So if you guys want to write in with your thoughts on those, like, are you excited about Stellar Blade? Were you somebody that was excited for games like The Last of Us or Spider-Man 2 and then disappointed by their launch? We want to talk kind of about all that. So definitely write in for next week's show. You can do that by heading over to flipscreen.games, and however you choose to get involved over there, that's the best place to go. So, thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of the Steam Deck Podcast, with a very special thank you to our Patreon producers for the month of February. They are, of course, Arnold J. Rimmer, Christopher Valens, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, a.k.a. Sobi, Project Julian, Susan Still Likes Cats and also Boobies, Voodoo Vic, Ty the Dude, and Waka Hula. Thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/flipscreengames. You all the realest of the real, and we greatly appreciate your support of this and all of our sister shows. Remember, if you want to let us know what you thought about this week's show, hit us up in the comments down below or visit flipscreen.games to drop us a line. If you're watching over on YouTube, please remember to give this episode a like, share it with a friend, and click the notification bell so you never miss an episode. If you're an audio listener, please take a second to leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps the show get circulated. For the crew, I've been Pete, he's been Steve, over there's been Max. We'll see you next week!